Illmatic just celebrated 28 years.
That's some shit to smoke in here.
And I want to ask you, and I don't know if we've actually covered this on the show before. What's your favorite song on Illmatic?
I mean, The World Is Yours is the reason that I started even rapping, Mike. I was like, I want to do that. It's like, I don't know if I can do that, but I want to do that. I want to do that with my life if I can do that. I don't think I can do that. I don't know what he's doing. I sip the Don P watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes, all the words past the margin. Mike, when I used to write my stories and my short stories and my thoughts, I used to write the words past the margin. It was the first time I used to hear express that. I used to feel like the paper wasn't enough paper for me to write and get my ideas out when I was a kid. So when I heard somebody say that on record, it was over. It was over right there. It was like the relatability was there. And then he was like, understandable, smooth shit that murderers move with. And it was like a lot of dudes like around me, like they liked me because it's like I wasn't like them and they knew I was going somewhere. And so even when he said like the understandable, smooth shit that murderers move with, it's like, no. I understand that because I was around dudes like that, but they was understanding my style and where I was coming from. And so the record for me was just so relatable. And I was like, how can this nigga be like from New York and like be like experiencing, you know what I'm saying? The things that I'm experiencing growing up on the east side of Atlanta and the west side of Charlotte. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm with you on that. I think The World Is Yours is probably the best produced song on there. I mean, I don't want to get super nerdy. You know what? I like the way, and it's not my favorite song. I love the way he approached Represent. See, my stacks is fat. You know what it's about. Before the BDP conflict with MC Shan, around the time when Shantae this the real Roxanne. I love the way. I've always loved, like, I think Represent probably, and this is Primo, which is crazy to say, might be the second weakest beat on there. But the way he attacked it. Go ahead.
let's talk about Represent right quick since we're just having an Illmatic conversation.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about some songs we normally don't talk about in the context that we talk about.
Right. So let's talk about Represent. That is one of those songs that made the street ethos of the album strong. And so Illmatic is poetic in a way that all the great rap albums before it, not made by Rakim, are super poetic, even beyond like KRS-One stuff in terms of the poetic and rhythmic nature of it. Represent was on some street shit. You know, catch me whopping with a bop and my hat turned back. Love committing sins and my friends sell crack. This nigga raps with a razor keeping under my tongue. The school dropout. Never liked the shit from day one. That's that shit that niggas in the street need to gravitate towards. You feel me? And Represent is that. Musically speaking, I think it is held up the weakest of everything on that album. I actually had a question. Which song got recorded first outside of Halftime? Because we know Halftime came from Zebrahead. And if you were to ask me, Mike, what song got recorded first, Mike, I would think that Represent was the next song that got recorded.
It sounds very vintage. Even the beat, you could even tell that Premier stepped it up on New York State of Mind and Memory Lane. You can't tell me that he made that beat after those or in between those. Represent had to be first.
So, Mike, this is back when, you know, the producers used to have the beat tape. So here's what I'm going to tell you I think. Represent was one of those beats that was probably on a beat tape after Step Into the Arena that maybe was being considered for Hard to Earn, but about who Nas was or around whatever, it was on a beat tape. But here's what I know, Mike. Like, both version beat-wise of Memory Lane and New York State of Mind, that's the moment that Preem became kind of like Preem beat-wise, where it's like, oh no, another level. Like, he was making dope shit, and like he's got stuff like Mass Appeal and Dwick, and he's got some stuff. But Mike, when you hear New York State of Mind and you hear Memory Lane, and then you hear that second version of Q-Tip, like played later, you can tell that's when that guy hit his zone as producer. He hit his zone while Nas was making Illmatic. That's perfect fucking timing for us as rap fans.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, I think the timing on a production level is perfect for Nas anyway when we talk about the fact that, you know, you got Large Professor coming off of Breaking Atoms. You got Preem, like you said, hitting his stride. You got Pete Rock making Main Ingredient and coming off of Mecca and the Soul Brother, and you got Q-Tip coming off of Midnight Marauders. Like, it's crazy.
Well,
It's
also too, let me say this: you can hear it because the instrumentation that's on Represent. I swear that's almost some of the same stuff that's being used on New York State of Mind. It's just it's slowed down, it's heavier, and it almost feels like Cream's bought better equipment.
It almost does feel like that. Blue Collar Hustler says It Ain't Hard to Tell was the first song. Okay.
It was the first single. It Ain't Hard to Tell was the first single.
I don't know though. I'm with Blue Collar Hustler because I do remember hearing an early version of It Ain't Hard to Tell. I do remember, but I think that version that I heard though, to be fair, Blue Collar Hustler wasn't the one that actually made the album. Yeah, it did have the Human Nature sample, but Nas sounded very Rakim-ish on that version.
I mean,
but that version didn't make the album though. So I guess what we're saying is like, as far as like the finals that made it, I do think the Represent was probably early.
It feels that way. Like it feels that way. It just does. How about this? To me, when I hear "Life's a Bitch" and "The World Is Yours," that's to round the album out. I feel like New York State of Mind is down. Represent is down. One Time for Your Mind is down. Halftime is down. It Ain't Hard to Tell is down. It's like I feel like The World Is Yours and Life's a Bitch is what's rounding out the end of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way. Can I say something right quick? Like, because you brought up the whole, like, well, he's rapping. Who'd you say he was rapping like on that record? Say he was rapping like
Rakim-ish.
So the entirety of Illmatic is like Rakim meets Cool G rap, because those are Nas's influences, and like you can hear it. And so to hear somebody that is rapping poetically and using the verbiage and the thought process of a Rakim, but he is talking in a greasy, in a very like upfront and like stark manner, the way a Cool G rap. Well, nobody had ever done that. You know?
I've always said, man, Illmatic is probably the most lyrical, easy listening album that there is.
Well, it's Rakim and Cool G rap's ethos together in one album. And so New York State of Mind is the epitome of it, where he says Rakim type stuff like, my rhyming is a vitamin held without a capsule. But he also says Cool G rap type stuff like, pick the Mac up, Toe Brothers back up, the Mac spit, lead was hitting niggas, one ran, I made them back.
That's very Cool G rap-ish.
That's Cool G rap.
Yeah.
The rhyme like a vitamin without a capsule, oh, that's that Rakim level depth that we had very rarely heard from anybody, even in 1994. Mike, he covered that territory on the first song of Illmatic. So when people are like, oh, this is the greatest MC of all time, well, that's because, well, Mike, he had implored by the beginning of the onset of this album, he had implored and exemplified two of the greatest 5 MCs of all time at the time, masterfully on the first song at fucking 17, 18 years old. That's the type of shit that have people thinking that you will think that you're the greatest MC of all time. It's like, well, damn, he's on Rakim and Cool G rap level at the same damn time on the first song that you hear. This guy's the greatest MC of all time.
Blue Collar Hustler says it used to be called Nas Will Prevail. It was on the demo. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. Man says, where do you guys rank Large Professor?
As a what? Producer?
As a producer. I just wish Large Professor would have gotten more placements, you know. I think he's definitely I hate putting numbers on it. Top 15? 20?
I was thinking 25.
25? Top
25.
Yeah, I think the lack of placements, because just based on his individual work and his abilities, Large Professor, the truth, whenever he gets called on, you know what I'm saying?
So if we're talking capability, top 15 for certain. But if we're talking about like how the resume plays out, top 20, 25 probably.
And it's unfair. It's kind of like Ski, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys make some of the greatest hip-hop songs ever made, but they don't get the calls that they should get. That, you know, as fans, we feel like they should get.
No, they don't. Like, I mean, like, how about this? I think he's almost as good a beat maker as Q-Tip, but it's like where I'm going to have Q-Tip and where I have Large Pro is going to be a separation about the quality of work and about the output. Like, Q-Tip going to be somewhere like 8, 9, 10, 11. If not, 8, 9, 10, 11 probably on my list, and Pro probably going to be like 18, 19, 20, 21. You know, it's going to be a gap, even though the skill level isn't like that different.
What do you think about this Nas and Wu-Tang tour that's been announced?
I think we're going. You just didn't know it yet till I told you.
Oh no, I already knew that.
No, are they coming here? They coming to
Yeah,
the
they're
A?
coming to Atlanta. Yeah.
One second, if we're going to Charlotte, I'll just go home.
No, we might go to one or two of those shows. I think that's going to be a dope tour. I
It should have
guess
happened so long ago.
KD3 is probably going to happen like right before this tour starts. I would imagine.
Actually, I was thinking there was a Supreme Clientele 2 talk last year, Mike. So now,
Yes.
I mean, let's talk about viable Wu members.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the 3 members we're about to talk about. We know KD3 is on the way because Ugly just dropped the Feed the Buzz, Mike.
Yeah.
Are we getting a Raekwon album? I don't know.
I would like to see Raekwon and Ghost on KD3. Do you think that's out of the realms?
Mike, would love to hear Verbal Intercourse 2 on KD3.
That'd be dope.
Anyway, it's time. It's time.
I mean, I know some people might listen to the show. I think that's a good idea that Coop just put out there. Verbal Intercourse 2 on KD3.
About to go on tour. About to go on tour.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to come out and perform part 1 and part 2?
I think that'd be crazy.
Whatever the best beat that RZA has left, go ahead and just go take it. Be like, no, the best beat you got, give it to us 3. Gonna do what we did again. I mean, Nas isn't gonna be able to duplicate his performance, but they can duplicate some of the feeling. But really, what I really want to happen about this tour, because we know what Nas is doing and who he is and where he is, Mike, this is Method Man's moment to drop the album that we all think that he can drop.
Okay.
This is it.
That's an interesting take.
This is it. This is it.
Meth got a lot going on, man.
No. He's already dropped the single, Mike. We reviewed the single.
Yeah.
He already been working last year with Conway with Lemon. This Method Man.
I would like to see Meth get in the lab more with the Conways of the world.
Since we're talking about it, can we get Verbal Intercourse 2? And can we get Shootouts? You know, Method Man was supposed to be on Shootouts off of It Was Written, man.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Can we get like that? Can we get that on Method Man's album? Shootouts Part 2, like on Method Man's album?
Get Nas on Method Man's album. Nas hasn't been on a Method Man album yet, has he?
No.
Okay.
Meth hasn't been on Nas album either.
No.
They've actually not really worked together.
What did you think about the Ugly video? Because Nas just recently put out the video for Ugly off of Magic again, Feeding the Buzz for KD3. What you think about the video?
Just my first thought was just because we've been having all these talks about literary devices. This is where the abstract thought put together in conjunction seamlessly wins over that literary device of seeming one thought process together. You're able to provide visual aids that relate to the song and make the song more impactful and powerful. It's harder to do that when you're using a literary device that streams the same topic down the wire. That's what I mean. Like, that's all. Like, when you're pulling it off, it's a beautiful thing. It's just, well, we work in the entertainment sphere, and the abstract thought put together well, which is what Nas is literally the best ever at. Well, this is where it wins. Because when you see Ugly, after hearing it, the way that they fit it together, but Mike, it's because they have so much imagery to pull from because of the thought process that he uses. You know, like when they go to the Marvin Gaye to Young Dolphin, there's that quick Marvin Gaye looking flash. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you get to do stuff like that when the thought process streams like that, when the streams of thought are abstract and fluid, but the artist knows how to piece them together. There are so many things that you can do, and it just lives on better because it's creating an image in our mind. When you create an ethos and you just extend the ethos, you know, like the record that I was naming from Jay earlier that I'm not going to do to be shady. You know what I mean? Like, because people feel like I've been like saying things in a manner that's trying to like knock him down. But it's like, no, like, just contextualize it appropriately. It's like this video is easier to pull off because of the words being used. This video is based on the words. Imagine that.
No, I liked it. And I feel everything that you're saying because it made me actually feel the song on a different level. And I also like the fact that, you know, they're continuously putting out material, well, as far as like the visuals for material from Magic to kind of feed the KD3 buzz. Because it's not just the music that's feeding the KD3 buzz. We're actually seeing visuals to these songs we already like. I mean, I think they need to keep putting out visuals for Magic. I'm with it.
And I told you, like for me, when I heard Ugly, Ugly to me was like his modern day version of Do Rags, and that's kind of what the visual aid was like. I thought to myself, it's like if he would have did a video for Do Rags, it would have been similar to this.
I love the fact that he's able to make videos for stuff like this now, because back then you could only make videos for the stuff that was banging. Like you couldn't make a Blaze of 50 music video. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine him doing a Blaze of 50 video now, like where he's talking about like that scene with being with Stout at the dice table in Vegas with Terrell Davis? Like, can you imagine the visual aid to that now?
I want to see it. You know what? I hope that they shoot a video for Blaze of 50 now. Why not? It's not too late.
Blaze of 50 was so, but the visual aid of it. I mean, and it's just somebody for me. I used to live off the 15 mic. I used to play Vegas. So it's like when he's talking about it, it's like, no. That's how Vegas be too. You'll meet women like that in Vegas too.
Somebody mentioned the song off of Belly with Method Man, Nas, and DMX. That's fair, but I mean on their individual albums.
I really didn't count that.
Nah, I didn't think that lived up to it.